Well, briefly, it's a story of female friendship, enduring female friendship, and at a much later stage in their lives, and what they have learned from each other in their life's journey. But with the introduction of Arthur's whiskey, it takes them back unusually to a point that they can revisit their younger selves and really take something from that and let them re-examine themselves again as older people. So I would say it's about women and self-examination. This allows something that would not be available. That's the fantasy of the film. I think all people, as they get further down the road of life, have a way of looking back and assimilating and seeing at the right moment in their lives, assimilating where they've got to and where they've gone wrong and so on. What's extraordinary in this instance is that they're given this potion which allows them a much more accurate view of their life's journey. Well, because I was asked to do it. It's as simple as that. But I involved myself with it because I loved the premise of it. I liked the script and the people I was working with. Well, I think about friendship and the endurance of friendship, but then I can't separate the word female from that. Because I think that women do have probably more of an ability to hold on to friendships. I know that in my life I have friends that go back to when I was not just at school, but I mean early days at school, and I still keep up with. And I find it a very important part of anchoring oneself in life, that you never let go of the person you were, even though you've become different along the way. Oh, I don't think anybody can have too many friends, and I do. Yes, I do, because I really like people. I'm endlessly fascinated by people, which is just as well considering the job I do. I think it's important. I mean, we talk about diversity, which is a very important and good thing, but it must be inclusive of all forms of diversity. And what is being addressed here is, first of all, a gender imbalance, which unfortunately it has happened over the years, that there is far more representation of men in film than women. It's being corrected by, for example, films like this. So that's important, but I think also ageism is we are not represented in the way that we should be. And I can say this now because I see it very clearly, that we still have a lot to give in life. And I think that society should benefit from that, because there's nothing like experience. Oh gosh, probably almost everything. I think I would say the art of listening is more important than the art of talking, and I would want myself to listen more. And I've learned that gradually through acting, because acting is listening, actually. That's where the energy is. And I think to have more confidence. I think that it's something that a lot of us are in our business, but I wish I'd allowed myself to be more confident. Well, what would I do? You mean which part of my life would I like to go back to? I'd probably revisit a day when I was at a particular school, which this particular school I absolutely loved, and I made friends there that are still some of the greatest people I know, and we had a brilliant time together. And I would probably want to revisit some of the mad exploits we got up to. The man that I married turned around to me and said, "Do I know you?" That's all I'll say. Well, it worked for him. I hope that we'll cover a wide age range for a start, and I hope that they will take away a feeling of a warm feeling of comfort and security in the power of friendship, and the sharing of secrets and how strong it can make you, and having the trust to actually share things with people and not keep it hidden away, and a trust in the amazing thing that life does, you know, as it takes you from being in your 20s right the way through to being in your 70s. And there's something very wonderful that happens in that time. And to reflect on that, really. It's a little more difficult, I find it, to pin Joan down. I think that she's a woman of ability who life took on a slightly different tack, maybe, than anything. I don't know that she'd ever anticipated things particularly, but she made a happy enough marriage, let's put it that way, and had a son, and you know, there are difficulties with him, but not things that can't be resolved, and again are resolved through openness from both of them. And I think she was carried along in a way that she thought was perfectly acceptable. But from the moment the film starts, all of that changes, and so she has to reevaluate herself. And she does it through having these two other great friends that she's able to open up to. That isn't something that is dwelt on particularly. She doesn't, because we're in the action of the film is more sort of positive. It's not reflective in that way. She sort of has to get on, which is, to be honest, having been through this myself, is it's a way to help with grief, that the world keeps turning and life goes on, and nobody's going to take away from you what you've had. But why spoil the future? Through this, you know, this magic thing of being their younger selves, and I think through shared laughter. I think that's the thing that bonds them together almost more than anything. That there are things that they're very disparate people, but they have a shared unity, a shared chemistry. I don't think that it's anything that she's dwelt on. I have to say, I don't think this is a particularly unusual thing, but what is good is that it's being put there on film, that people go through massive identity changes when they're young. They're not sure, you know, who am I? And that exploration happens. And so in this, there was a very particular thing that happened that has stayed with her. But you can be allowed to think, oh, well, you know, I was just going through a phase. And it's only latterly, through the loss of Arthur, and that suddenly she's stripped back and she's on her own, and through this extraordinary thing that happens, that she's able to re-examine it and realise that actually it was of great significance. And she's able to embrace it rather than hiding it. So start with the last question. I haven't been there myself. No, I haven't. Well, it's a go-to for people that if you have a fantasy about having an absolutely mad, once-in-a-lifetime trip, then probably Vegas would come on people's list, because it's sort of, I think it's an alternative universe, isn't it? And people have a fantasy to want to go. So there's nothing, again, unusual in that, but it relates back to the fact that Linda, the character played by Diane Keaton, had this, at the end of her marriage, came with a lost Las Vegas trip where the husband was more upset about losing the money for the trip than about what was wrong with her. So this was a lovely gift, if you like, from Joan to the three of them to say, okay, we're going to do this thing that you were denied. And for all of them, and it's a real whoopee, let's go, let's just go completely mad and behave like we're young. It was a terrific fun, because Boy George is fun himself. I mean, and look, he's an invention of his own choosing, and we've all benefited by that. And in person just the same. And we also had the addition of this wonderful drag artist, Lawrence, who was just a delight as well. And, you know, frankly, between us all, we had an absolutely mad day. But isn't that what it's all about? Three old queens getting up on the stage with two other queens. I won't put old in there. That was heaven, working with Diane Keaton and Lulu. We had very little time together. I knew Lulu a bit already, and we'd been able to do a little bit of prep time together. But Diane was only able to fly in a few days before. But the three of us just immediately engaged with each other. She's extraordinary. She's a goddess, as far as I'm concerned. She's a really, really special, unique contribution to the film industry. And Lulu, absolutely the same. You know, she's also a goddess in her way. So I felt I was the lucky one. I think I found as I entered the world of the film, that I found myself playing into it just with what I was presented with, that there was something very, very free about it in that way, because the two friends are extremely colourful characters, and I suppose that I was in a type of neutrality which you need. I didn't impose it, but it was naturally there, and so everything that's there is something that I was feeling in the moment. I didn't have the need to sort of think, how am I going to, you know, embody this character? It's something that I just had to let happen. Hello, I'm Patricia Hodge. I'm playing Joan in the film Arthur's Whiskey. Merry Christmas and jingle the bells. Just go for it. I will be.